Welcome to Paw Print Academy, your blueprint to raising better dogs. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your host for this journey. I've got my trusty co-host here, Brianna.
Hello.
And together we're bringing you real-world training insights built on leadership, structure, and proven methods. We record this podcast with live clients on the line in one take with live, unscripted questions and answers. At the end of the day, this podcast is a lot more than just teaching your dog to sit or stay. It's about building trust, creating calmness, and becoming the kind of leader your dog truly needs. We do that with our 3-pillar method of trust, obey, and perform. Together, we'll show you how these 3 pillars shape every step of training. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. Hey, good evening. It's episode 13, Loose Leash Walking, stopping pulling before it starts. Hey there.
Biggest one. Hi.
Biggest one, right? So this is exciting because before I go down that road, this is exciting because we are into our second major, series. So this series is now on basic obedience. So our first series was on puppies and foundation of leadership, foundation in how to raise a dog. And now we're segueing into the concept of obedience. And one of the biggest concepts and issues that we get calls about is my dog pulls on a leash. Yep. I can't stop my dog from just pulling everywhere we go. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Yep. And before we do, shameful plug, I am staring at the beautiful crystal glass shaped little award here that we recently got. We were recently voted Top Sales #1 Top Choice Award for Dog Obedience Program. And we were super, super blown away by all the votes that we got. And somehow we were able to come out #1. It's basically a popularity contest. It's you log in and you vote. And if you're listening to this in another state, not North Carolina, or you're listening to this across the pond in the UK, because apparently we have a whole bunch of listeners in the UK now. Over there. So the Top Sale Top Choice Award, it's a local award, but humble brag, we won it. So you got to start somewhere, and we're doing the best that we can. So I just wanted to highlight that because it's going on. The little glass sculpture award got here today, and it's going on the shelf. Yeah, but super excited about it. All right. Core idea for tonight. Yep. Loose leash walking. Loose leash walking is not just about controlling the dog with strength, right? And I think that immediately when we get into that concept, in the second sentence after my dog pulls so hard on a leash, the next sentence is, I can barely control them. Mm-hmm. And immediately that tells me 2 things. 1, your dog doesn't know what leash pressure means. Mm-hmm. And number 2, you don't either. Yeah. Or the client, right? The person. Yeah. Because if you knew what it was, then you wouldn't be framing this as I can't control the dog. And the conversation would shift to, I'm really having trouble getting my dog to engage with me, right, or I'm having trouble getting my dog's attention, yep, or my dog is more interested in other things than me. Mm-hmm. And all of those things stem off of this concept of leadership, and that's where we want to talk about it. So, the rest of this point, right, is that it's not about controlling the dog with strength, but it's about teaching the dog how to follow calm, clear guidance and rewarding the behavior that you want. But early enough, right, that before the bad habits take shape.
Right, because that's inevitably when we always get the call, right? Because everybody's like, well, my dog pulls on a leash and I can't control them. But they've been dealing with that for years, usually at that point.
Right.
And a lot of the times it comes down to the physical capabilities of the owner. It comes down to the dog got bigger and stronger. It comes down to a lot of factors that lead somebody to initiate a call to us. But you can start these things really, really early and kind of avoid some of those pitfalls that you see a lot of the time.
Right. Even when your dog is super small, super tiny, and you can't really go on long walks, it doesn't matter. You can be doing this around the house without even going on a walk.
Right.
And I think that's where I really blow people's minds when you first start getting into dog training, because one of our go-tos is quick segue, a quick rabbit hole. So there are a lot of celebrity trainers or influencers and things on Facebook and whatever that'll be like, I'll stop your dog's leash pulling in 10 minutes, right? And it's okay, cool. It doesn't take very long to reframe the dog's mindset, right? Especially depending on the techniques and the tools that you're using. But I try to aim more for, we do it in 2 sessions, right? And I do it that way because I know that I can do it very highly ethically. So number 1, first session, we're teaching the engagement.
Yep.
First session, I got to teach your dog that you are more interesting than everything else. I got to teach your dog and pattern with your dog that, hey, when they feel leash pressure, what does that mean? Oh, it means look back at you.
Yep.
Oh, it means look to you. Oh, it means we're about to do something. Oh, it means I'm doing the wrong thing and I should do something else. Yep. All of those things have to be learned first before I just go correcting and moving and doing directional changes, and the dog is getting, this leash pressure turned on and off, and it's just looking at you like, what the heck?
Yep.
So I think that we can very, very fairly and highly ethically teach the dog in 2 sessions. 1, what they should be doing, and then show them how fun and easy and engaging a walk can actually be without all that pulling. And that's where the change happens.
Yeah, because I think the first mistake people make with puppies or when getting a dog in general, and bringing it home is you just start walking outside. But I never recommend, I never recommend people do that, especially with puppies. It's like, take your dog for a walk inside. Just walk up and down the hallway. Walk around things in a circle.
Yeah.
Have the dog close to you with no distractions. Because if you throw a puppy outside, of course they're going to pull on a leash. They're going everywhere. Right.
When we bring a dog into our program for that first 3 or 4 days, the only walks that we're taking are adventure walks where the dog, okay, sure, pull all you want. Yep. Because we're not even worried about that right now. Instead, what I'm worried about is, oh, you want to go over there? Hey, check me out. Look at me over here. Oh, great job. Throw a party. And then, hey, guess what? I want to go over there. So we're reframing what the dog, in order for the dog to get to where they want to go, they have to go with me.
Yep.
But the actual leash walking lessons, they're getting taught in the living room. They're getting taught in the backyard. They're getting taught in a very small space, not on the road where the dog is going to see other dogs and other people and other, kids running around and scootering around and whatever. All of those things are only going to work against you in that if you're really trying to compress your timeline.
Oh, yeah.
And when we're faced with training a dog in 2 to 3 weeks or fixing this leash pulling in just, days instead of weeks, well, now every session counts.
Yeah.
Right. So, we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
All right. So understanding the root cause is going to, 1, make your training a lot smoother, but also a lot more effective. So pulling becomes, and the first thing here, right, to understand is that pulling's fun.
Yeah.
for dogs, right? Pulling, if your dog pulls and pulls and pulls and pulls on a leash, it's not because they're so uncomfortable that they can't stand it.
Right.
Right? Otherwise, they wouldn't do it.
Right.
So it's fun. It's exciting. It's something that the dog enjoys doing.
Yeah.
Because dogs really only do repetitively things that they enjoy.
Yep.
To one form or another. You don't go, dogs don't get out of bed or their kennels in the morning and think like humans do, where they're like, really don't want to do this thing today, but I'm going to go ahead and jump in and do it.
Yep.
Right? Like cold plunges, right? Humans will be like, I hate cold plunges, but I know it's good for me, or I know I'm doing this 30-day challenge, or I'm doing something with whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so they're going to think through the discomfort and go, this is good for me. Dogs don't do that. Dogs do not do that. They do not think through something and go, you know what? I'll really be a better person for doing this.
Nope. They're impulsive.
Nope. They're just like,
I want that.
I want that.
I'm going to do that.
I'm going to do that. Or, right. Or I don't want that.
Yeah.
Not going to do it.
Not going to do that.
Not going to do it. So when the dog is repetitively, pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling, there's a reason.
Yep. It's self-gratifying.
It's self-gratifying, right? And so one of the ways that it's self-gratifying is it's fun. Dogs naturally love to pull and tug and throw their weight through an obstacle,
Yep.
right? Something that is holding them back, and they push through it. They love that.
Yeah.
That's really exciting for them. That's why tug toys are one of the number one sellers nationally every single year.
Yeah.
You can go to the store and find 5,000 types of tug toys.
Right, because dogs love to play tug.
Love
You can always find a dog that like doesn't know how to fetch, right? But most dogs can figure out pretty quickly how to tug
Yeah.
because it's such a close contact game that you can teach it so easily for dogs.
Absolutely. And that will get into a whole nother thing about how I love tug. I love tug even more than I love fetch, because fetch increases the dog's drive away from you, whereas tug increases their drive engaging with you.
Yep.
All right. So most puppies and most dogs have never really learned to pay attention to the leash pressure. Instead, it's just an obstacle that has to be overcame.
Right, because typically puppies start out on a flat collar, right? And
Most
if not,
dogs do.
Right, most dogs, yeah,
Yep.
any dogs. Most dogs go on a flat collar. And at the point where you hear your dog struggling, right, because it's pulling so
Gasping,
hard.
coughing, right? Yeah, exactly.
yep.
Everyone knows exactly what it sounds like.
The point where you hear your dog do that, I know 9 out of 10 of you are flipping to a harness. And do I hold that against anybody? Absolutely not. Nobody
No,
wants
you
to
don't
hurt
want-
their dog or
right.
see them uncomfortable, and that's their method of saving them. That's what the harness was made for, to help dogs pull things and to increase their comfortability in pulling.
Right. So that's a twofold. So one, I want to draw attention to the first thing you said, which is most owners resort to the harness to protect their dog.
Yep.
Because they don't want them to choke. We want to be the best to our dogs as possible. And so we resort to the harness because we feel it's a safer option for the dog, which it is. It absolutely is. Over a flat collar,
puller. Yep.
100%. You are protecting your dog. And so we love that.
Yeah.
What we don't love is that when you put a dog in a harness, the harness was literally crafted to help dogs pull, right? I.e., a sled dog team.
Yep.
So you put the dog in a harness and you tie them all together, and then they can pull lots of weight very comfortably long distances.
Yeah.
And inevitably, when I say that and I break it down that way, you see the light bulb go off in clients' faces, and they're like, "Oh, I did not realize," but that that is exactly what I've done.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, cool. Now your dog's a sled dog. And it's like,
Right.
I love pulling.
There are some things with that, though, that I think people don't realize either. Is one, like your dog can injure its neck or its shoulders pulling on a harness.
Yeah.
If they're turning and twisting their bodies in weird directions to kind of get in certain ways, they can definitely hurt something there.
Right. So the pulling itself
Yes.
is not something we really want to encourage.
Right.
But yeah.
And then also the thing we always tell clients and worry about and hear about with harnesses is the fact that if that dog backpedals, they're 9 times out of 10, they're free. And they have nothing attached to them at that point.
Right.
And that's everybody's
Backpedaling
worst
out of a
nightmare.
harness. And there's like harnesses have gotten more and more creative with the
They have.
little safety mechanisms and things that they
Yeah.
have on it, because one of the primary downsides to a harness is that a dog usually can backpedal out, right?
Yep.
So as long as they're pulling forward, they're well strapped in. But a lot of harnesses or basic harnesses, as soon as they dart backwards and like duck their head, right out.
Yep. And so when you switch over to the harness, you kind of lose the ability to teach leash pressure at that point.
Right.
Because at that point, it's self-rewarding because it feels good every time they pull.
Right. So now when you put that leash pressure on, you turn the pressure on, they're like, yeah.
Right. It's
I'm
like
gonna
giving
pull
them a
against it.
hug, right?
Right.
It's like pushing on their chest, giving them that like deep pressure therapy.
Right.
And like most dogs love that.
Right. You know who else loves it? Humans.
Yeah.
Humans. Weighted blankets.
Yeah.
Huge seller every Christmas
Yep.
that's coming up.
They make dog thunder shirts. All of
Right.
those things are creating the same effect in the
Yeah.
dog's mind.
Absolutely. All right. So the lack of the structure, right, of I guess what I want to say, the lack of structure in the dog's mind of where this pressure is coming from leads to confusion about what's expected on the walk.
Yep.
And so to boil this down very, very simply, in order to stop your dog from pulling on a leash, you have to teach them what the pressure that they feel on the leash means. And a dog that doesn't know isn't going to stop pulling.
Yep.
That's just how it is. They're not going to stop because of all of these reasons we've already mentioned.
Yeah.
So what would your best advice be?
For leash pulling?
Yeah. So what do you tell owners if you are going to tell them in 60 seconds or less how to stop their dog from pulling? Like in practice.
Yeah, I start inside. I don't start with walking. I start with the dog kind of going away from me, holding steady pressure, and as soon as they come towards me, marking and rewarding.
Yep.
So yeah, it's not outside with 5 million distractions.
Nope.
Because
So-
people think that sometimes that's the way to do it. And sometimes that works for some dogs. Some dogs don't really care and they adjust just fine. But if we're starting from the very beginning, scratch-free dog, I'm going to go with inside, holding steady pressure on a leash. And we typically go with slip leads. You can also do that with a flat collar, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing that says you can't teach your dog to walk on a loose leash in a flat collar. Will I say that it's not the absolute safest a lot of the times? Yes. But there's plenty of other tools and you get to choose that. But the number one thing that you're going to see is if you do it outside with a million distractions, your dog's never going to really win because it's
Right.
just there's too much going on.
Yeah. So if I explain it, I go with delete all distractions.
Yeah.
Make a perfectly sterile environment. Put your dog on some sort of collar. Collars are going to translate the pressure better to your dog's brain so that they know exactly when it turns on and when it turns off rather than a body harness.
Yep.
Body harness is going to suck up a lot of that pressure and disperse it throughout the body in a way that is going to be less sensitive to the
You
dog.
want to say something? Okay.
So, If everybody who's listening, if you guys could mute your mics for me, I turned you down there. The next thing is now I'm going to turn the pressure on from the dog or to the dog with my leash. And at the moment that they turn their attention away from whatever else is going on and they look at me, I'm marking and I'm rewarding.
Yep.
That then translates to eventually doing it a little longer distance. Then it translates into recall. Then it translates into walking. Then it translates walking around the house.
Yep.
Then it translates to walking around the driveway. Then it translates to walking out on the street and sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's the process.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Questions I wrote down. What's the number one reason dogs pull on the leash? We kind of answered that one because it's fun.
Yeah.
Right. It becomes self-gratifying. How do we explain self-rewarding behaviors to new dog owners? So we kind of talked about it, but a self-rewarding or self-gratifying behavior is a behavior that the dog no longer needs you for. A behavior that the dog gets the gratification from or gets the pleasure from on their own without you becomes self-gratifying. And that's usually when we get the call, because that's when owners get super frustrated. They're like, I have stopped all of these things and I just cannot seem to get through to my dog, right? Because the dog doesn't need you anymore.
Yep.
Because they reinforced this and they reinforced it, and eventually it became something that the dog could just do for fun and they don't need you at all.
Right, because if your dog's pulling on a leash, tell me that dog even acts like they know that you're there.
Right. You're right. They are escorting you, if anything. Usually when a dog is pull, they don't care that you're back there.
Right, you're like the carriage behind a horse. That horse does not see you.
Right, you're
It's
the
just
anchor
like,
that they're dragging.
I'm just dragging whatever this is behind me. I don't know.
Right.
But it's moving, so it's fine.
Yep. All right. Major point number 2. Teaching leash pressure and direction. So, the leash should act as a communication line, not just you're not supposed to just be the anchor that the dog drags around, right? It's supposed to be just a line of communication. It should. I explain it in lessons how it should be. The differences in collars make the leash kind of the difference between dial-up and broadband and like the new fiber optic cable.
Right. Yep.
And the more sensitive a collar or more active collar that we use as a tool makes that line of communication between you significantly faster, clearer, crisper, more precise.
Yep.
So puppies and, any dog, but especially puppies, and we frame a lot of these conversations around puppies because by the time your dog is out of that puppy stage, they really should know how to walk with you on a leash. That being said, I don't want to sound like an elitist here that's like, well, if your dog's older and they don't walk on a leash, then you're lost.
Right.
No. I got you. You can teach this at any age.
Yeah.
But I framed most of these concepts around puppies because that's usually where they need to learn to walk on that loose leash. So dogs got to learn to follow the direction of pressure rather than fight it.
Yep.
Now, all dogs have this natural reflex called the opposition reflex. And now all dogs have it, regardless of what age they are, but puppies have it the strongest because eventually, just like a reflex, you're born with a reflex. You don't have a choice in like reacting to a reflex. But as you get older, you can kind of fight through the reflex and control it a little better as you learn to control it. All right. So the puppies are no different. They have an opposition reflex. And that opposition reflex drives the dog to resist against anything that is pulling or pushing them in a different direction.
Yep.
So right off the bat, we pull some pressure and the dog's going to shut down. And they're going to be like, oh, I'm going to pull against this. That's normal. That's natural. But we've got to work through that because that inevitably starts this whole self-gratifying process.
Yep. And when we're talking about leash pressure, right? It's like I want like 2 fingers on the handle of a leash usually. I want steady, light pressure. We're not choking the dog. We're not cutting off the air circulation, right? We are simply holding a little bit of pressure to where it's uncomfortable for the dog. And they're like, why are you pulling me that way? And as soon as they take that one step, it's marking and rewarding.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. And it can sound confusing and it can sound crazy. But as soon as you put it into play and you see the dog doing it, you're like, oh my goodness. Because it's such an important tool to teach your dog when you're inside is how to engage with you before you take them out into the crazy world.
Yeah, absolutely. And like she was just saying, right, using that gentle directional pressure, it allows the dog to not feel like they have to turn on that opposition reflex even harder. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to just yoke up our dog. We don't want to yank on our dog.
Right.
And especially on a collar. Now, there are some collar options. We talked about collar options, I think, in like episode 2 or 3.
Yeah.
We talked about some different tools that we can use for accountability. And there are collars that the Star Mark collar, the Hermspringer prong collar, both of those, although they look crazy and people will get they get a bad name for what they look like, they actually protect the dog's airway significantly against that pulling. And so when we take a really hard puller, sometimes those are great collars to incorporate right off the bat so that you can start to break down that habit and also keep your dog safe in the process.
Yeah.
But that aside, we're talking about gentle directional pressure. So we turn that pressure on and we turn it on in a specific direction, back towards us.
Yep.
When that pressure turns on and the dog looks back at us, we mark it, we reward, and we throw a party. By continuing and being consistent with that, we teach the dog what we want them to actually do when they feel that pressure. Mm-hmm. The dogs do not realize there is a difference between when we turn the pressure on and when they turn the pressure on.
Yep.
To them, the pressure is the same.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we pair movement with our marker words like our yes and free, and we move away from the dog, which incites their prey drive and brings them towards us to make it even more clear to the dog.
Yeah.
Lastly, we really want to avoid this like steady tension. And so we want to turn the pressure on, get the dog to realize that it's on, have them do something, and then immediately turn it off.
Yep.
What we don't want to do is just pull pressure and just pull them or reel them back in towards us.
Yeah.
We don't want to do that. All right. Questions for this section. I had... How do we teach owners the time to release the pressure correctly?
I know you're big on see one, do one, teach one.
Yep.
I also am really big on, I've watched.
That was the answer?
Well, no.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, that is a great,
right.
That is a great way for them to see you do it. And you're really dramatic with the movements. And I think that's like really helpful for most owners is just to be able to see the leash movement. Even if it's like with a sit, that's one of the like perfect ways because as soon as the dog's butt hits the ground, you release the pressure and just like kind of drop the leash. Other than that, outside of that, I've also seen it by a lot of other trainers. I don't think we've done this one too terribly often for loose leash walking or leash pressure, but connecting it to another person, right? So let the owner hold the leash and you be the dog. And then flip flop.
Yes, that is that's one of my favorites now.
Yeah.
In the first lesson.
Right, because
when you don't want to.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I just don't like when owners are so worried about messing up with their dog.
Right.
They don't want to, I don't want to mess up my dog.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess up my dog. And it's like your dog's already pulling like they've got to, like they got to get out of Dodge. So like you're not going to mess them up, right?
Yeah.
By just pulling a little pressure here. However, cool. Let me be the dog then.
Right. Yep.
And that seems to work really, really well.
Yeah.
But what that looks like, because we're talking about it, but like you can't see anything because it's a podcast. So me being the dog, I'll hold the end of the leash and then I'll pull against it, have the owner turn the pressure on, pull. I turn, I look at the owner, and then have them rep out what I want them to do, which is immediately release that pressure, mark it, and reward it.
Yep.
In whichever way that you do, right? We recommend using free, and because that's our release word, that's what we teach our dogs with, and that releases them to come towards me and get the treat.
Mm-hmm. All right, what's our next one?
Early drills that help puppies understand directional leash pressure the fastest. So turn that pressure on, releasing as they come towards me. The other one that I like to do is get it free. So this, I take a little piece of treat. I've got them on a leash. I say, get it. I toss the treat away from me and I give them slack on the leash so that they can go and they get it. As they're grabbing that treat and as they're getting that treat, I turn the leash pressure on just slightly back towards me. They're already having a good time. They're grabbing a treat. They're getting something. They're excited about it. It's kind of a game. And then I'm turning that leash pressure on. And then as soon as they turn back towards me, I'm saying free, turning the pressure off, and then offering them another reward for them to run and scamper back to me and get it. Super, super fun game for little puppies because they get a treat in both directions.
Yep.
That's my go-to. Mistakes that we see owners commonly make when introducing leash pressure. My number one, not turning it off.
Yeah, not turning it off.
And so this happens when there's just too many things going on. And this is why I like to be the dog in the demo, because inevitably owner pulls pressure and a lot of times we see the hand just go up over the head.
Yeah.
And
they just raise their arm.
right. They raise their arm because they're like trying to take out the slack of the leash. And that's just natural for them to
or like keep
raise,
it from dragging the ground.
Right. And so they just raise their arm. Instead of pulling their arm back towards them, they're like raising their arm. And so what happens is they turn the pressure on by raising their arm, and then it's just a coordination issue. And it's funny to watch, but it's totally natural and normal. But then the arm just stays there. It just stays above their head, and then they're like rewarding their dog. They're like, yeah, good job, with their other hand, and their arm, their opposite hand is still up above their head. And the dog is like, I'm still like on the pressure. And what that does is it just doesn't teach the dog how to turn the pressure off. We've got to teach the dog how to turn the pressure off, because that is the lesson that stops leash pulling.
Yep.
We said this a different way, which was, here's how we stop it. We teach this. But the actual true lesson that stops leash pulling is teaching the dog how to turn off the uncomfortable pressure. No dog really wants that pressure of the leash, but they will generally just either deal with it because they want whatever else it is that they're going after. Right? No dog really wants to choke. When we're talking about the dog that's like choking, there is a self-gratifying behavior of like pulling against something. But at the point where it becomes choking, the dogs don't really want that.
Yeah.
Right? No dog really wants to choke. But most dogs are very willing to choke in order to get what they truly want, which is maybe a dog, a person, a treat, a squirrel.
Yep.
Whatever it is. All right. So the way that we fix it is by teaching the dog, this is how you turn pressure off. Mm-hmm. And then all of those other things go away. All right. So the last key to this loose leash walking is really building engagement on the walk. Mm-hmm. So this is why I say that I really frame our lessons around stopping leash pulling in 2 sessions instead of just 1, because I want to use that first session to build and bolster the dog's engagement with you, or you're the owner, the handler, the whatever. A dog that pays attention is a dog that's going to walk politely. A dog that pays attention is one that's going to give engagement to you. And engagement prevents pulling before it even starts. A dog cannot physically be engaged to you and also pulling away from you at the same time.
Yep. Got to be looking at you.
Right. They're inversely proportional.
Yeah.
So the more engaged to you, the less they're going to pull. The more engaged to you, the less they're going to react to other dogs or other people.
So how do you get that engagement?
Right. So we use turns.
Yep.
Right.
Love
so
turns.
At the point where your dog is going to like forge ahead or stop engaging to you and go where they want, I'm just going to turn around.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn around. I'm going to go the other way. And then what's going to inevitably happen is that dog's going to end up at the end of the leash. And they're going to do one of 2 things. They're going to notice, they're going to turn around, and they're going to join me on their own. Or they're going to get a correction.
Right. And
that leash is going to get tight.
Yep.
And they're going to feel that pressure.
Yeah. And when we see owners trying to teach their dogs how to walk on the leash, it's inevitable that they give them like 24 inches to walk on. And they think that that's like helping kind of the situation.
Right. Because they want to control more. So they shorten the leash.
But when we teach loose leash walking, we teach it on like a 10-foot leash, 15-foot leash sometimes.
Yeah.
Mostly 10. But you want to be holding, and it feels weird and it feels like you're doing it wrong. But you want to just hold the handle loop of that leash.
Yep.
And
you want to give
crazy.
them as much leash as you have.
And then because when you turn and go, that gives them more time to pay attention to where you are and realize that you turned.
It makes it more clear to the dog that if you were on 12 inches of leash and you were the dog, if you go left, you're going to get tightness. If you go right, you're going to get tightness. If you go forward, you're going to get tightness. If you go back, you're going to get tightness. There's not enough leash for you to even make decisions.
Yep.
And so if you don't speak English at all, or you don't speak the same language, and everything that you try ends up with a correction, you're going to get frustrated.
Right. I just said that to an owner yesterday. I was like, you have to give your dog the opportunity to fail or they're not going to learn. Right. If you keep them in a bubble and don't let them make the wrong choice, they're never going to know the difference between the right choice and the wrong choice.
And I'm going to add to that and raise you. You also have to let your dog succeed.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And the long line allows you to do that because either they're going to succeed or fail.
Yep.
But you've now stacked the cards in the favor of learning.
Right. You've given them ample opportunity.
Correct.
Fair opportunity to pay attention.
Whereas if you're on a short leash, it's like I've stacked the cards in the favor of you failing.
Yep.
You're going to get a correction for sure.
Yeah.
Correction, left, right, forward, backward, doesn't matter.
Yep. So we turn and go. If the dog is like super far forging ahead or like really just not paying attention, we just turn around.
Use your turns, use pace changes.
Yep.
And then use your verbal markers. Use a verbal marker rather than a treat marker.
Yeah.
On the walk, because treats and food are stimulants.
Yep.
And usually when we're dealing with leash pulling, we're already dealing with an excited dog. We're not dealing with a scared dog. Mm-hmm. And we could.
Yeah.
We could. But most of the time, It's not a scared dog. It's not an anxious dog. It's a dog that's like,
Yeah, just
I love it.
excited to
I'm
do
so
stuff.
excited to be
Yeah.
outside. And so they're just pulling where they want to go.
Yep.
All right. Reward the dog for staying in position. Here's the next thing that I see people mess up all the time is that, cool, they're doing the right thing and you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
But they do the wrong thing and you're correcting them. Or they do the wrong thing and they're getting pressure.
Yeah.
But what about when they're doing the right thing?
Right.
Tell them. Tell them that they're doing the right thing. And that's why you need to have a marker that doesn't necessarily have a treat connected to it and doesn't mean you're done.
I watched a guy earlier on a video teach he had a Great Pyrenees, and he would walk around the fields, and he said the dog would follow him by his side, and he would just like reach down and like scratch his chin. And then he realized that it was like a perfect heel position. And so he just built the chin scratches in to make like the perfect heel. I've never even seen a Great Pyrenees heel, like a professional, like engaged heel. And that dog was healing so crazy just for some chin scratches.
I love the chin scratches.
And I was amazed. It was so cool. But he was like, the dog is what the dog is. The dog likes what the dog likes. If the dog wants chin scratches to stay in a heel, cool.
Perfect.
We've reshaped that. Like, awesome. Love it.
Yeah. Give him what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So we were talking about rewarding the dog for staying in position. Yeah, reward what the dog wants.
Yep.
What is important to the dog.
Yeah.
And then last, just use these short, structured sessions because they're going to build better habits than these like long, drawn out, chaotic walks. So when I take a dog out and it goes poorly, we don't get to the end of the street before I'm coming back.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because it doesn't do me any good to draw out these long walks for like more practice at doing the wrong thing.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I'll try to go to the mailbox, and if I can't make it there without like 6 turns, I'm like, well, I'm going to just take the dog. We're going to go back now, I guess. I'm not going to make it to the mailbox. I'll go by myself.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you don't another concept here, you do not have to walk your dog only for exercise. Larry Crone says this in all of his videos, but he says this and he sticks by it here, right? Why are you walking your dog? Right? And people are like, well, my dog pulls and my dog does this, my dog does that. But I walk him every day. How often do you walk him? Every day. Why? Well, because something, right? And inevitably it's, well, because they need exercise, or because it lowers their stress level, or because I saw it on a YouTube video and it's good for my dog.
I like walking.
Or, right, because I like it. The inevitable answer that he gives is, but can you accomplish those things in another way? Because when you're taking your dog out and they're not walking well, you're reinforcing that behavior.
Yep.
So shorten your walks, shorten your sessions, or walk them in other less distracting environments until they're showing you that they're ready to then graduate and go to the next challenge.
Yeah.
But we see it all the time. People will take their brand new puppy or whatever it is, and it's like walking on the side of the boardwalk in the Surf City with all the cars going by and bikes and dogs and everything else skirting by, and they're going over the bridge and there's like 100 people walking past them and everything.
Yeah.
It's like that. If your dog is doing great, then great. They're doing great. No problem. But that's not usually the ones that even call us, so we're not really talking about them.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
When your dog is doing great, then cool. You nailed it.
Yeah, you can turn this
hit
off
the
now.
genetic, right? You turn this off. Don't even listen to us. Because you hit the genetic lottery, right? Like, or you're super astute and you are nailing down all of the basics and you're leading your dog.
Yeah.
Great job. No change necessary. But most of the people who do listen to this and most of the people that do call us don't have that situation.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, I take my dog to the park. And you're, okay, cool. Does your dog listen to you? Does your dog engage to you? Well, no, they're really interested in the squirrels and the birds and the whatever. Okay, cool. We found the problem. So let's minimize that. Take them somewhere quieter.
Yeah.
Take them somewhere with less volume. Take them somewhere with less distraction. Start there.
Right. I think a lot of
And
people
build on it.
expect the dog to step up to their standard before they're willing to go down to where the dog is at. And not like on a hierarchy, right? It's on a learning curve.
Right.
The dog needs to learn how to do it. The dog just doesn't know. I think some people think that the dog just wants to get away from them and just doesn't care and this, that, and the other, but the dog just doesn't know.
Yeah.
And so you need to drop yourself down to their level and be like, how do I teach them what that means?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just expecting my dog to be a rock star in the craziest environment.
Yeah. Right. Initially,
yeah.
right? You can build that rock star status.
Yeah.
We want to see that. Everybody should be encouraged to do that. I want to see those dogs walking in all those environments.
Yeah.
That's great. But you can't start there.
Right.
Right? Like, and we understand that as humans. We're like, oh, well, my little baby has to crawl before they walk, and they have to
Right.
walk before they run, and they have to run before they can join the track team.
Mm-hmm.
But with puppies, they seem so much more capable, and it's like, I want my dog to sit and then stay for 10 minutes.
Right.
Like, hold on a minute.
Right.
Hold
Have
on
they
a
done that
second.
for
Have they
two?
done that for 30 seconds,
Yeah.
then 45 seconds, then a minute? Yeah, exactly. All right. What do you recommend to keep a young puppy engaged in those distracting environments?
Food and movement.
Okay. But how do you characterize food? Right. Earlier I had said, well, I don't recommend food as a stimulant.
Right.
So where do you draw the line?
I usually draw the line. I give it a little bit of practice first, right? I will rep out some things with food before I kind of fade the food out. And that's where we kind of start with everything, right? We always start with food lure, leash pressure, verbal. Those are our languages. But I think especially when we're talking about puppies, like you should be using food for most things, right? And you're not going on long walks here. You're going on little training walks. And that's the difference, I think, and the boundary for me is whether I'm just on a walk because I need to go get the mail and I just want the dog to walk with me and I'm like, hey, this is our expectation. Or whether I'm like, hey, we're going to do some training and I'm going to work with you and make sure you're super motivated and I want you to have a great time with it and I'm ready to like do a session with you. I have time. I have the motivation. I have the capacity. I'm going to take some food with me and we're going to have like a really amped up session. Because that's what makes the dog want to do it over and over and over again. It's not you making them do it every time with no food and no reward and nothing to be given. If they're a food motivated dog, especially if they're a puppy, they should be working for that food, building that engagement with you and having a good time so that when you do go to the mailbox and you're just like, hey, let's go for a walk. I don't have any food. It's okay because your dog still understands that you're valuable and give them something when they get back.
One last question. What role does handler body language play in all of this?
Oh my God.
So
Much.
right. And I don't want to close out the podcast without talking about body language because this is one more like really big, final defining detail in this whole process. Dogs don't speak English. We all laugh at this and know this and roll our eyes because everybody likes to say this. Oh, dogs don't speak English. Right? They really don't. So if you know that, what do you think your dog pays attention to the most? Your body language.
Yep.
Dogs are experts at reading body language. And you can find all sorts of funny videos on this on Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that, where people will just be very quiet, not say a word, and not even talk to the dog or engage the dog, but just display these different major changes in emotion and watch the dog's body language.
Yeah.
And they change with you because they pick up on the body language. They are experts at that because they don't know what the words mean. So they pick up on that way better.
Yep.
And that's how they communicate from dog to dog as well. So that's their language. So when you are walking and you're looking around and you're looking to the sky and you're, just waddling through this walk, the dog's going to be like, all right, this guy doesn't know where he's going.
Mm-hmm.
I need to lead. And then they're going to.
Yeah.
So instead, you need to walk confidently and you need to walk with purpose. You need to walk like you've got somewhere to be and you're going there.
Yep.
And then go. So we teach owners to walk with intention.
Mm-hmm.
Use your body language, show where you're going and that you're going there now.
Yep.
That will help your dog so much. And it's completely nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So at this point, I am going to, we've got our listener projects here at the very end. I'm going to open this up here to questions. So if you are listening to this live, now is the time to unmute your mics, ask your questions. We'll handle anything that comes up here, and then we'll go into our listener projects. So at this point, let me turn this guy up. Does anybody have a question?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment for you. Chinoa still likes to pull unless she has her prong collar on.
Okay.
But I did order another collar that has it is a harness collar, but it has the hook at the front of it.
Okay.
So it says when they go forward, since at that point they're going to be pulling on that, and it's supposed to mimic what you've taught how to turn around.
Yep.
And come back. So I'll let you know how it works.
I gotcha. So yeah, here. I don't know why I've still got this thing going here. My bad. Missed the mute button there on the music. So with Chinoa, the harness that has the little loop in the front, right? When a dog pulls, the concept is that the leash kind of naturally redirects them back left or right and kind of turns them around. In order for them to pull against it, it automatically redirects their body weight. And so that is the concept there. With Chinoa, being the little bulldog that she is, we're always going to deal with that headstrong desire to lead the interaction. And so what I will recommend is, especially as you're waiting for that harness to get here, because I am, every dog is different. So you're going to have to experiment and see if that works, then by all means, go for it. But right now, while you're waiting for that, I would love for you to try to work through not moving forward if she is in front of you. So at the point where she tries to, and also we can do a refresher lesson on this, right? All of our clients that have been through any of our programs, we do free refresher lessons for life for their dogs, because we really want to commit to the success of their dogs. So for Chinoa, if she forges ahead, she at the point where her tail or the base of her tail goes ahead of your leg, that's usually for pet dogs our threshold. That moment, no more forward progress is made, because at that point, she is now leading that interaction. So you turn the pressure on, you give her no, give her heel, move her back into position. And at that point, once she is in position, you allow the walk to continue. Mm-hmm. That is going to be the best way to eliminate that pulling, because the tricky thing with pulling is that even if it's eliminated, initially, if it's kind of a gradual, it's like reshaping a beach, right? Every wave that comes in is going to take a little bit of sand out. So every time she's allowed to get in front of you and continue moving forward, she's going to find a little more confidence in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And as that grows and grows and grows, she feels better and better and better about it and will continue to do it because it was allowed initially, but it might not have been something you were really against, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, cool, she's not really pulling, but she's just walking a little in front of me. That's okay. I'm fine with that. Well, it just slowly kind of unravels the thread. And then eventually she's pulling again. And now we're like, oops. Well, the best way to stop that is to change your direction quickly, change it very confidently, and then also not allow forward progress or not allow her to go in the direction she wants when she's ahead of you. Does that help a little bit?
Yes, it does. And part of the problem, I've been sick, so she hasn't been out on a walk for a couple months.
Oh, I gotcha. There's no judgment whatsoever. I just want to, I really want to make sure that I am bringing you guys as much value as possible. And we love Chenoa. There is no part that if you're feeling well enough and you would like to get a refresher lesson, I would love to come out and do that for you guys.
I love that. But part of the thing is that that's why I love listening to these, because you're bringing up these topics that I've forgotten my training. So it's not necessarily Chenoa's forgotten her training.
I gotcha.
I forgot my training. So I need to.
Well, we're here for you too.
Right. The refreshers are for you technically.
Right.
So this when we took her to the chiropractor today, and there was a lot of pulling, and I was trying to get her to go back, but then I'm listening to you guys, I'm realizing, well, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So no wonder she was just kept pulling, and then because I'm struggling with her I was trying to get her to be in a place in the chiropractor office while he worked on my back, and she kept wanting to get up and move around his office.
I gotcha.
And it's a very dog friendly office, thank goodness, but still I wanted her to be in that one spot, and she was not wanting to cooperate. So yeah, probably refresh would be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll do that after the holidays. It's been kind of chaotic with.
Right. Yeah. The holidays always are for everybody. It's hard to find that like level normalcy in the holidays with family coming in and out and traveling and all of that.
He's got a couple of things that we've actually been meaning to reach out to you guys about, but it's just like I say, with illnesses and just busy, but I will get with you.
That's the exciting thing about puppies though, right? And one of the reasons why I think it's so important to offer those refresher sessions is because puppies are going to act a little bit different than they are when they get full grown as adults, because they're going to think about the world different. And so it doesn't mean that she's forgotten, but she will always be, just like every dog, they will be opportunistic. And when they're allowed to do something, they're gonna do it, because they're like,
oh yeah,
hey, I want this. So they're gonna.
And the interesting thing, the dynamics between her and Steve has changed a bit over the last several months too.
Right,
so
and you have, yeah.
It's been he's more tolerant, but then she tries to get into his space more, and we're trying to, get her into the place where she like leave him, but then she'll get over there by him, but he's like, I'll allow you to be by me.
Yeah.
But then when he's done, he's done.
Right. Well, that's an interesting change in the dynamic from when we first started, where Steve was, very intolerant. But as she grows, right, she's gaining confidence. And that's also what you're going to see, is that she will create a situation where you have to show additional leadership than you had to initially, because now you have a more confident dog.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for all you do. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
thank you,
problem.
guys.
Awesome. All right. Does anybody else have any questions, or shall we wrap it up tonight? All right. We will get to wrapping it up here. All right. Our listener projects for tonight. Project number 1, 5 minutes of backyard leash pressure. So spend 5 minutes walking small loops in the backyard or in the living room, somewhere with very little, somewhere where the dog is very comfortable with very few distractions. Apply gentle pressure when the dog moves off course, left, right, forward, backward, and release the pressure the moment that they yield. Mark with yes or mark with free, or whatever your marker word is when they return to your side, and then reward them. All right, project number 2, turn and follow game. So walk in one direction, then turn 180 degrees, and turn 180 degrees if your dog forges ahead. So at the point where they forge ahead and they get ahead of you, I want you to turn 180 degrees. And if the dog ends up at the end of the leash, they're going to correct themselves. So I don't want you to say anything. Say nothing during the turn. Just let the leash communication do the work. Mark with yes or free or whatever your marker word is when the puppy catches up and then follows, right? And follows you calmly. Just reward the dog with a positive marker word when they're right there next to you. And if they forge ahead of you, do the same thing. Turn 180 degrees silently. Just turn around quietly, walk the other way. They're going to correct themselves, or they're going to see you turn and they're going to follow you. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, mark it, reward it.
Yeah.
All right. That is all I've got. You got anything to add?
No, that was a great one.
All right, guys. So we're going to end it here. This was episode 13, all about loose leash walking. So ideally next week, we are going to have another local trainer with a whole nother dog training company on the podcast. And super excited to get them on here.
Yeah.
It should be Sierra from Summit Kennels.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys can tune in for that. It should be a little different dynamic with an extra trainer. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and thanks for listening. I appreciate y'all being here. Leave us a like, leave us a comment, leave us a review. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.